Hello everyone! So in this tutorial we will see how to use the Character Selector Pro plugin and how to configure it to be able to purchase and select character in your game. So when you download the plugin you can find a Character Selector Plus folder. Inside it there is an example folder and you can open the sample scene. So let's see how you can use this plugin in your game. So basically, if you have a main character and you want the player to be able to switch to some other character to unlock it, let's say that other character have different ability or different skin or skills, and you can simply add a button in your interface, and this interface will show up with different character to be selectable, and also you can specify some character to be purchasable, and the plugin manages all by itself. So there is a standard management of the wallet, and you can also specify if you want the player to be purchasable with the money gained in the game or with real money, so you can configure it with your in-app purchase strategy. And you can of course also specify if you want just the character to be purchased by real money or to the money collected in the game. The plugin support touch control, so you can slide with touch or with mouse, or and also with keyboard. Also the joystick is supported, so you can use it also in a game developed for console. And you can of course configure and change the graphics. There are some default sprite, but you can override it and import your graphics. You can change the background of the panel. You can also change the transparency, and also if you open the character selector controller you can change the scale of the object and also the character distance, so the distance between two characters. And so let's see how it works. You can just select and the player is changed in the main game. So you can like develop your own game and then let the player be able to select it. Now let's see how we can configure from scratch this plugin in your game or in a new project. So let's see how we can do that. Let's start creating a new sign. So create sign and call it scratch. Inside it we already have a main camera and a directional light. We can drag the UI camera prefab as a child of the main camera. This will basically add two cameras as a child of the main camera. The UI camera will render all the objects related to the UI, as we can see in the column mask UI tags, and the characters camera will render all the objects that have a tag Character Selector Pro in that layer, so all the objects related to the plugin. We can remove from the main camera in the column mask field the Character Selector Pro field, so unselected. This will prevent the main camera to render all the objects related to the plugin. After, we can drag the canvas character selector prefab inside the scene. So this is basically the main canvas that will contain all the objects related to the selection. We can see in the inspector that we have a canvas and a render camera field. We can drag the UI camera as the render camera. This will make the canvas character selector to be rendered by the UI camera. And now we have all the components. We can add a button that will trigger and open our canvas. So let's create a new canvas, UI canvas. This will create an empty canvas and also an event system. If you're configuring this plugin inside an existing game, just make sure that there is an event system. If there isn't, let's create it UI event system. If there isn't an event system, then the touch will be not detected, so make sure there is this one. In the canvas we can add a button, so let's create it, UI button. Let's call it menu. Let's position it in top right. Okay, so now we can map the onClick function to open the canvas character selector. To do it, we can simply add an event, drag the canvas character selector object, and look for the manager selector script and trigger the click canvas. So this will basically open the character selector windows. We can also disable this button, so when we click it, it is disabled. So let's add the button, game object, set active to false. Now we can reactivate this button when we close the canvas character selector. So let's map the select player button. Let's drag our new button and set game object to set active true. So this will set the game object to be active again when we close the menu. So now we can test it. Let's start the game. We can open, click on menu, and then the canvas is rendered. So we can see that all is working. We can purchase and select the player, and the button is already available. So we can reopen it and go back. Oh yes, we can also map the back button. So when we go back, we also reactivate this button. So game objects, set active, true. Now let's see how we can import our object in the selector and remove the default objects. Let's start creating some simple object that will act as our main character. So let's add a 3D object and a plane. And on top of it, we can first create an empty object and call it character. Here we can add as a child a cube. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And a sphere. So these are the two versions of our main character, and the player will be able to switch from a cube to a sphere. Let's create a new folder and call it prefab. And inside it we can drag the cube as a prefab and the sphere. We can also create a new folder and call it materials to add some color. Let's create a new material, call it cube, and maybe make it red. You can drag it to the cube. Okay, so now we can create another material. Let's call it sphere. We can select maybe a blue color and drag it to the sphere. So now we have a red cube and a blue sphere. Now we can create a new folder that will be the prefab selectable. So create folder selectable prefab. In this folder, we will put the prefab that will be rendered in the selection windows. So maybe to keep all the project organized, we can drag the selectable prefab folder inside the Character Selector Plus folder. So now we can create our new prefab. The easiest way is to duplicate an existing prefab. So open the example folder and duplicate one of these 6 default characters. With Command D or Control D, if you are on Windows, duplicate a character and drag it in the selectable prefab. Now let's open this prefab, and you can see that there is a cube, and this is just manage the animation, and then there is a game object that is the real graphic of the prefab. At first we can rename this game object and let's call it cube. Then we can drag our cube prefab and drag it cube prefab. Okay, we can see that we don't have the material because I forgot to apply the changes, the material changes to the prefab. But we can see that if I go in the main scene and apply the override to the prefab, so apply all, and also to the sphere, I can apply all. Then in our folder, you can see that the preview already have the material, and if we open the selectable prefab, then also this prefab will have the changes. So we don't have to change when we want to change something on the prefab. We don't have to touch this prefab. This will be just as an initialization, and then if we want to change something, we can change it in the main prefab, and all the changes will be updated by the Unity engine. So this is a good way for managing this type of dependency. We can drag the cube to be like approximately on the same position of our character, and then we can delete it. But first, let's see that this object is on the Character Selector Pro layer, and this is because we want just our camera, the one that is shadow of the UI camera, to render these objects. So let's delete this object and all the cube with the Character Selector Pro layer and save it. So now we can duplicate the cube and create a sphere. Let's open the sphere and we can make the same. Drag it, the sphere prefab, just move it to be approximately in the same position, set the layer to character selector, and delete the cube. So now we have cube and sphere prefab. You can see that we have on the object, if you open it, there is if you open the selectable prefab folder inside of the prefab, and if you look in the inspector, you can see that there is a character property script. Here you can say the name that it will display for the object, so in this case it's cube, and the price. And for sphere, you can set sphere, and let's set 0.3 as price. Save it, and now we can drag these two prefab in your prefab list in the character selector controller. Just set the size to 0 and then drag the cube and the sphere. Let's start the game. Open the menu, and you can see that now we have our two prefab, so they are they are very big, so we can reduce the object scale. Let's set to 2 and see if it worked well. So yeah, I think it's maybe it's too much, still too much. We can set to 1.7, can play with that and finding the best configuration for your objects. And now we have a sphere and a cube, all selectable. And we can see that for the sphere, we can purchase it, and then we can select it. So now let's map this 2 game object to our main game object in the scene. So when you select this cube or the sphere, then the object in the scene will be selected. Let's start by pointing our main camera to the character so that our main character will be rendered. So our main camera is there. We can just drag the main camera as a child of the character, reset the position, and now we have our camera there. We can just drag back a little bit and change a little bit the rotation, and we can see that now our character is rendered. We can disable the sphere and let the cube to be the default character. So now let's see how we can listen from the event that will be triggered when one character is selected. The plugin uses the delegate pattern, so you can find more information on the Unity documentation, but it's very simple and easy instrument to use. So it's a design pattern and it's very easy. Sometimes you can register to some object and list it for an event and will be generated. Let's see how we can do that. So on top of the character, let's create a new script and let's call it new script, and let's call it character manager selection. Let's open it. We don't need the start and the update, and on the on enable we can register to the character selector point on character selector. Let's add our method, so we can add like a method that is player selected. Let's create this method, and we can see that Visual Studio create a private void player selected method with the parameter character name string. So when a player select a character, this event will be triggered, and we can manage here all the stuff. We can also define in the onDisable character selector plus on character selector minus equal player selected. So in this way, when we disable the game object, this will detach the script for listening to the event. And now we can just, because manager selection is a script on character, we can just make a for on the child of character, find for check the name, and if this name is equal to character name, then we will set active to true. If not, we will set active to false. This will work because selectable prefab has the same name of this character. You can manage as you prefer, but this is an easy trick to make this character map to this other prefab. So let's see how we can easily do that. For each transform child in transform. So for every child in the transform, and we can set the child dot game object dot set active to child dot name equals to character name. So when the character name is equal to the child name, the set active will be true. If not, will be false. So let's test this code. You can start the game, open the menu, and let's try to select the sphere. So we have no camera rendering error. This is because our main camera is also a child of the character and is set active to false when it's selected. So we can just drag out of the character and try again. Well, let's open again the menu, select the sphere, and we can see that now everything is working. So we can select a cube and a sphere. And now we have the plugin set up. Let's say that we also want to listen for the purchasing event. So when someone wants to purchase, we must check if the player have paid or not. So for real money event, we can simply do that in the same script. So on the character manager selection, we can open it again, and we can add another listener, always using this delegate pattern. Character selector dot on purchase character plus equal player by. So let's generate this method, and we can see that Visual Studio generated the player by method with the signature character property, and inside this object we will find all the configuration that we set up previously in the prefab. So we can print in the debug log the name of the selected prefab, the prefab that the player want to buy. So character property dot name object, and also we can print the price. So let's write price plus character property dot price. This will be the price in dollar or euro or the currency that you choose, and if you want the game coins, so you can just multiply it for the character property dot conversion rate class. But for now we will use the character property price, because let's say that we want this to be connected to the in-app purchasing services. And now let's test this code. So I can start game, open the menu, and select the sphere. We can see that now we can buy the sphere. So let's click on buy, and here in the debug I've printed name, sphere, price 0.3. So we can everything is working, the event is registered and we are listening for it, and we can like connect the in-app purchasing to this event. For doing that, we can simply use the Unity services in-app purchasing, and you can turn on these services, and you can follow the integrating Unity in-app purchasing in your game tutorial on the official Unity page. So you can just search for it on Google, and it will show in detail how to add your strategy for in-app purchasing. And here we can simply suppose that we already did that and just unlock the object. So here you will be calling some the in-app purchasing services, and then you can unlock the player when the payment is confirmed, just doing game object dot find. We have to find the character selector controller. We can just copy the name, dot get component, and now we want to this character selector script dot payment confirmed. And here we can specify the name, or we can directly set the character property, and it will unlock the character with this name, object, this price, and all the information. So now we can test again the code, and now we should see that we are able to buy this the sphere. So let's try menu, sphere, buy it, and now we can see that debug is still here again, and we can now select the sphere. So I think that's it. It should be very easy to set up this plugin and configure to use it in your game, but don't hesitate to write to the contact and thundershotgame.gmail.com, and you can find all the information in the packages. So bye, thanks for watching this video.